Welcome back to Two White Guys Have a Podcast.
Finally.
Yeah.
You've got something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to start it with that, or
No.
is this not organic enough?
It's not organic. This is too artificial.
Welcome to the Cage-Free Podcast.
Welcome to the Dolphin Safe Podcast. The world's first.
We didn't check it for dolphins.
Yeah. No, it means we did.
Oh.
Yeah. What in the world
Is Carmen Sandiego?
did you ever have that?
No.
I remember having that at like my grandma's house, but I never played it because it looked boring to me.
I thought it was a TV show.
Oh, it is, but it's also like a game. It's
Oh.
like I might be wrong, but I knew it as a series of games, and like they would come in those big old. You know when PC games used to come in like big cardboard boxes?
Sort of, yeah.
Oh, that was the day.
That was a good one.
It was like, I think it was, because I didn't play it, but I think it was like a point and click adventure game, and it was like a mystery, and you had to like find Carmen Sandiego or something.
I think that was the premise of the show too. I guess it was teaching kids geography, but I have no clue.
Speaking of Inspector Gadget, I remember watching this weird show called like Inspector Gadget's Treasure Hunt or something. I don't think that's what it actually was called. It was like an educational show, and it was just Inspector Gadget, like the cartoon version, and he would take you around the world, and you would look at like live action footage of different countries, and I don't even think it was on PBS. It was on some like off channel, like Warner Brother or something, and it definitely was not called Inspector Gadget's Treasure Hunt. It was called like Inspector Gadget. Oh, and I know what it was. It was called like Around the World with Inspector Gadget. Or something.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and
God, I'm laughing at your gadget joke from before.
Which one? There's like 3. Go Gadget Photoshop, or the one we can't say.
Mostly, well, both.
I've been struggling to come up with another one. I think that one might just be dead early because like
I don't think you can get better than Go Gadget.
it's just funny because it's so mundane and like modern and specific.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the other one which we are only going to reference and not ever say.
Should I say it?
How did we get there? Well, we will need an explanation for it.
Okay.
Because it's awful.
Did you come up with it or me? Because it was kind of a joint effort.
Oh, we were at Chipotle.
Yeah.
And
I said I had black beans. You probably already know where this is going. I had black beans on my burrito or my bowl, and I walked out the door and I said, "Go Gadget Black Bean."
And I thought he said, "Go Gadget Black Man."
and then that made me think of Go Gadget Blackface, which made me imagine like a big cartoon glove coming out of Go Gadget's back or whatever and painting blackface on him.
There's no context in which we can ever make that joke except this one right now.
Yeah, exactly. There's gotta be something that's like I could make some kind of animation of that, but it would have to be within another animation that puts it into context.
Yeah.
Or something. Like I would not just make that and put it on YouTube without any context.
God, oh man. Oh God. Oh.
Something like that would be funny if it was supposed to be like, if it was imagining like a universe of like alt-right people or something, or if it was like.
Sadly, we live in that universe.
But I mean, like if like violent alt-right extremism was just like mundane, commonplace like household stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you did like a parody of that, then I think you might be able to squeeze that one in there. Like the kids are watching it or something.
Oh, it's so damn funny, but I feel it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. I suppose that's why we laugh.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. It is.
Ugh.
Like usually it's like things that would make me angry in any other context make me laugh in joke form.
Oh man. Speaking of Barnaby Dixon.
Oh yeah. Cool puppet. Bro.
Love that dude's stuff. I knew about him before.
I'd never heard
of him.
And
then I promptly forgot like
half an hour ago.
3 years ago. And then some YouTube video was recommended to me and I went back and watched his stuff again, and I so like this is the one time I'm sort of okay with all my devices listening to me because they've been hearing me talk about how I've been making paper puppets for animation.
Oh.
And it's recommending me all this stuff. Like, I got recommended a video about that on YouTube, which is a little better because at least I did search it.
Yeah.
But also Instagram, which I never searched anything on my phone.
Yeah.
Has been recommending me like animation
That's
and
creepy.
doll channels.
Yeah, it's like
or pages.
I mean, in an instance like this, it's like, okay, nothing harmful is happening, but it's still as a
It's
whole.
the implication.
Yeah.
It's
They
like,
know
yes,
what porn I watch.
absolutely they do.
And believe me, I search for some weird things. I'm not talking about porn anymore. But I mean, it's
But
just
if
like,
you were talking about porn.
well, what I was gonna say is like sometimes I search for things that are like highly illegal, not because I'm seeking these things,
Not because I want them.
because
Not because I order them on the black market. Go Gadget black market.
oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I actually really like that. But like just because I'm fascinated, like I'll Google search like heroin or something, and just because I want to read about heroin for informational purposes, and it's like, but some CIA agent who sees that isn't going to be able to tell that I'm not actually trying to find it on Google.
Yeah, because I don't know, access to information should be free, and just wanting to learn about something should not be enough to get you. It shouldn't be incriminating to know things.
You actually changed my opinion about that too, because it's like, I was never like anti, or I was never like obviously pro having people spy on you, but I was one of those people who was more flippant about it, like, oh, I don't really care.
Was it the thing I said about you can either say if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear, or you can believe in the right to privacy, but not both?
Yeah, I think, and that is true. I agree with that.
It's one of my best one-liners.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah. I don't know where I got it.
But it's also like I don't completely feel like I have nothing to hide though, despite what evidence may suggest. It's like I do like a certain amount of privacy, and I don't like. I think the thing that makes me angriest about it is when people use that to manipulate you. Because I used to think of it as just like, okay, they're spying on me, whatever, and then it's not really affecting my daily life. But then when you start seeing ads pop up and stuff, it feels really intrusive.
Yeah.
Or something.
Even when it's something good like this puppet related stuff. Like this morning I got.
I'm gonna take the good with the bad, I guess.
I guess, yeah, I'll use it where I can.
Yeah.
Because I have no way to really change it other than, I put electrical tape over my laptop camera and.
Yeah. Oh, I need to
leave my
fucking do
mics
that.
on.
I keep forgetting. I did that on my old desktop computer, because have you ever seen those? There are actual like websites. Like I don't even think they're deep web or anything. There's like websites you can access that are just full of hacked security cameras, and you can just spy on innocent people, and those could be on you. It's like you could be sleeping in your bed and some creep in Nebraska could be watching you jerking off or something like that. Like and that means both ways. Either he could be jerking off while watching you, or he could be watching you jerk off
and jerking off,
or doing both. And it's weird. It's like, and I only know about those
clown masturbation.
That's gross. I don't want to think about clowns coming.
Oh well, now we're doing it. Well,
what I was gonna say was,
is there anything more awful we can talk about?
Oh, I just wanted to make another disclaimer. I don't go on those websites where you spy on people because I don't like spying people, despite what my voyeurism score on that test might suggest. I'm not a voyeur. I don't know what that test was saying.
I know. It was just an online kink test. It was nothing weird. It's just kink I have.
It's not weird. Just sexy.
Yeah, I wouldn't put much stock in that. I've been really interested in learning more about the inner workings of my brain lately.
And that's one of my favorite types of science.
This might transition into what you want to say, but if you don't mind, I'll just say what I was thinking first.
Yeah.
So this is related to what you were experiencing, and I've had a couple of friends, not naming names, do things sort of like that, like have some sort of
get a psych test.
Essentially
that's what happened. I got a psychological evaluation,
and I'm really curious to know where I like fall or score in certain things.
I could give you the card of the person I went to and the information. I think anyone can do it. You don't even have to be stupid.
Well, I'm in luck. I can be there and stupid and do it anyway. I'm overqualified.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that VeggieTales meme. That's yeah, I might be dumb and gay. And that's it.
Wait, is it the weird asparagus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the asparagus father. I don't remember his
I
name.
guess name's Archibald.
Oh.
I fucking love VeggieTales.
It's
Almost
pretty
as
weird.
much as I love Arthur. I was thinking about
Still
that.
popping in.
I was thinking
sometimes.
about that Arthur Buster thing you sent me.
That of all the television best friendships, Arthur and Buster is our closest
Unfortunately,
analog. Yeah.
I am obviously Buster.
And I'm clearly Arthur.
You're just a really tall, sexy Arthur.
Thank you. I'm an agent of order. I teach children how to behave.
And I'm just here doing shit. I kind of, I like that about us though. I like that because usually it's like, I mean, there's the opposites attract thing, but there's also people who are like fundamentally incompatible, and you would expect that from someone who's like me, who I'm very pro chaos and you're very pro order.
Mhm.
But I think since we're both doing it for like the right reasons, and we both are aware of it and understand it, we're able to like make it work together or something.
Well, your chaos is not a destructive one, except when it's necessary.
yeah,
It's a thoughtful chaos.
yeah, I think so too.
And my order, I'd like to think, is not a pushy one.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
make other people be ordered.
Exactly.
I
Like,
just do what I can.
I don't consider you to be like. I was thinking about this walking to school one day, and it was like, because you're not like militant about it, and I think that's one of the main things that separates that from like asshole orderly people, and like asshole chaotic people are people who like they don't have a point. They just want to make people mad for no reason.
We admired your blind rage and directionless fury. It's a really good Adventure Time quote from like
It's
episode
really funny,
2.
actually. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I think that's why we work well, because we have our own internal logic.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
But I want to know. I want to know.
Is there more coffee?
about my brain? There's a little more. You can go pour some. You want me to pause?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's wait a minute.
I want to know about my brain. I'm really curious. And like I understand that IQ has nothing to do with what really counts as intelligence.
Yeah, well, at least that's my opinion, and
No,
probably
I
a lot
think
of
so
other people's.
too.
But
I think that IQ is just like a measure of sort of the baseline functioning of your brain.
yeah,
But that doesn't mean it can never be anything more or less.
yeah, and I think creativity is a huge thing that isn't really tested on IQ.
Yeah, I don't know if that's even measurable.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right, and because I think that's one of the things. Like, I don't even really like the term genius. Like I've said that before, but it's like
Yeah.
Going back to like what the typical idea of what genius means. I think creativity has a lot more to do with it than just like, oh, I can recite all this stupid knowledge from a book. Like, big fucking whoop. I can look it up on Google.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's different. And I was thinking about like Barnaby Dixon again.
Mm-hmm.
Genius.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's fucking
Um,
incredible.
And it's not because he can recite pi to 1,000 places.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, or
'Cause he
people
developed a new type of puppet from his own noggin.
who like. Oh, wait, that was like his own design. Oh, that's incredible. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
there really aren't many.
Yeah, look
or
him up
any
if you
like
don't know
that.
who that is, or
Barnaby
if you do,
Dixon,
look him up
spelled how
anyway.
you think. Yeah.
Or because I mean,
On
like,
YouTube.
there's some of those people who like you give them two insanely long numbers and they can like immediately multiply, and I was like, it's impressive and cool, but it's not really gonna do anything for society.
It's like photorealism in
Yeah,
painting or drawing.
That's a good analogy.
It's like, wow, that's amazing. What skill or what ability, but
yeah,
if you don't do anything with it,
yeah,
doesn't mean
it's a
anything.
tool, just like math.
mm-hmm.
You know.
And I want to find out how much of a tool I am. I want to know. I'm very curious.
When I was little, I used to be interested in, and by little I mean like 8th grade, 9th grade. I used to be really interested in IQ, and I wanted to grow up and like join an IQ society just so I could be like, I'm so fucking smarter than all you. But like,
Yikes.
yeah, sorry, I probably shouldn't have been that mean, but like, I just got disillusioned to it later on and realized it's just a way for people to like stroke their mind boners, you know.
I did that this morning. Just kidding.
Really? Have you ever woken up and came? or like not like that, but like you woke up and you're like, have you ever jerked off your morning boners?
The wake and shake?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
Anyway, Let's get back on track.
Wake and wank. Why didn't I say that?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Wake and shake's funnier.
Yeah, well, the wake and bake is a classic too.
The wake and bake?
Get up and get high.
Oh.
I've never done it.
Me neither.
Because I don't like ruining my whole day.
Yeah, I only get high at night. Brain.
Is it organic enough yet to transfer into the talk about your brain?
Yeah, but
would you like to talk about it?
Yes, but were you done?
I was just gonna say I'm not sure if it'd be really good for me to know my brain specs or really bad because I've struggled with insecurity, and so I have this theory based on nothing that you're gonna love it. That
we have no evidence
that I that my IQ is like average at best, and I've just sort of acquired a bunch of little factoids that make people think I'm smart. And mostly I've learned how to speak in a way that makes people think I'm smart. Mm-hmm. And this is not self-deprecating. Like, I'm not shaming myself for this, or I don't feel shame about this. I just want to know if I'm right.
Yeah,
because that's how I feel. And
have you ever taken like those dumb online IQ tests?
No, never.
Yeah,
because I don't want to. It just seems so stupid.
I've done.
Like, this is not scientific.
You can do several and get like really radically different answers.
Yeah,
which is why I don't believe in them.
I just am curious about it. I want to know. Phil Collins is singing "Strangers Like Me" in my head. I want to know. Can you show me where I fall on that bell curve of IQ? That's what I want to know.
Well, I think you can do that with the place that I went to, so I can help you out with that if you want.
And then Kaya was talking about they were going to take this sort of test to see like what job is right for you, but not like the Myers-Briggs like you're a caretaker type, be a nurse.
I like that stuff though.
I do too. I mean,
I don't follow it like gospel, but it's interesting.
I don't think it's really productive to base your personality around 4 letters.
And I think it changes too, because it's like I can think of times where I was a whatever something else. Right now I'm like EN something PF. What I don't even remember.
I know I've got an INFJ and INFP, and it switches back and forth.
I just know I'm the same as Willy Wonka and some communist revolutionary, and I don't remember who else.
I don't remember who I got.
I'm someone violent.
I got Nelson Mandela.
I think I might have gotten Charles Manson. I don't remember. I got someone who's really crazy like that.
We're building evidence.
You got Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, I think
that's
so,
cool.
Which is sort of strange.
I heard he was an asshole, but I don't know if that's true.
Nice.
He might be like, because I think Mother Teresa, I've heard that too. I don't know if it's just one of those things where people say that because it's like
want to be contrarians.
Yeah, but I've heard that Nelson, and I was gonna say like Nelson Teresa.
Nels and Mandela. That reminds me, my mic just brushed my throat because I leaned forward too far.
Nice.
I'm gonna buy a lavalier mic that clips onto your shirt. For
cool.
You.
Oh, for me. Oh, I would. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Or maybe we can do it. We can split it. And
I can pay.
You can keep it.
How much is it?
It's like $60 or $70.
Okay, yeah.
It's not cheap.
I can pay like 35 or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then I think it'll be better for you. So 1, you don't have to hold a mic all the time.
And
2, yeah, we won't have to worry about direction because it'll just.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. You can either getting one of those or getting like one of the gamer ones that come around and stay in front of your mouth the whole time or something.
But maybe we'll do that like out of college when we're recording on separate setups, because for right now it seems like this works best.
Yeah.
Because we can record through the same interface.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's for another time. What were we talking about? Oh, personality test. Kaya's going to take this test.
Is it like an official one?
Yeah, you pay for it, and it's much more detailed,
cool.
and it's longer, and it's more in depth, and it's not so like surface level as this is your personality type.
What is it?
What you should do.
I want to take it.
I don't know. They can. I think they could probably. You have to pay. It's $80.
Okay.
So I would like to do it eventually.
Yeah. I'm gonna use $80 to pay for some high heels soon.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because there's some that one of my pole dance instructors is selling. And it's $80, and they're really cool.
Hell yeah!
And I want to wear them.
Nice. But do you want to know what job is right for you?
Yeah,
I do too. But I don't have $80 to spend right now. I just think it'd be interesting. Mm-hmm. I want to know, like,
it helps you kind of feel like you have insight onto your own brain.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. I feel like I just take it for granted.
Yeah.
It's up there doing its thing.
Yeah.
Not as often as I'd like. A little quiet up top, if you know what I'm saying.
Who said that? That was that guy.
That guy who came in and gave that talk yesterday. He was pretty cool.
He was okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Better than average.
Mm-hmm.
He was really cool. I don't mean to be a jerk.
He seemed nice.
He seemed nice.
The first half of the presentation was kind of boring to me.
Yeah,
But then we started taking pictures.
It seemed just a little.
It got fun.
It seemed just a little like. It's really dangerous for me to think of myself as a product to market. You know, he was talking about personal branding and how.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I know what you mean. I don't like that either.
And he was like, everything you do is part of your brand. And I was like, dude, that's so constrictive.
I wasn't even really listening that much, but I remember that, and I don't really like that either. I don't like brand-oriented kind of thing. And to a certain degree, it's kind of inevitable because of, like, the whole... Like, we live in a capitalist society, so there's a certain part of that you can't avoid.
It's the first we live in a society of our podcast.
You're right. Here we go. We are up on the high horse now, baby. There's no coming down.
Sorry, keep going.
But anyway, I was just going to say, like, I think even with that sort of branding that's inevitable and that you can't avoid with having any kind of business or any kind of artistic presence, you can still constantly resist it and do things to subvert it and constantly reinvent yourself and like go out. Like I want to go out of my way to not become a predictable sort of brand where I'm making things that people expect me to make for them, you know?
I suppose for me, I agree, and I don't want to ever really stagnate, and that's my word that I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
But I also, there's like a security in having an identity
that
people
right.
recognize.
You're right, but then it's like you have to weigh, like, is the security, do you want it bad enough? Or like, do you want it bad enough because you got to give up a certain amount of...
It's freedom. You got to give up
exactly.
freedom to do what you want.
You have to sacrifice a little bit of like the risk taking and the exciting nature of making real, like I don't want to say real, like, you know, art, like
authentic.
Making art. Yeah, making authentic art because of the security. And part of me, like, I can't avoid just feeling sick about it, even when it's like the smallest thing, but it really is something you can't avoid, you know, it's inevitable.
No, I understand, and I like that, and I don't, what sort of got on my nerves, or not even really, but didn't sit right with me about this guy's presentation. Looking for your phone?
Yeah, it's over there.
Okay.
I'm
glad you knew that.
My pockets are really big, and it's been falling out all day in class.
What bothered me about that presentation was when he said, you have to always be on the offensive with your brand. And I was like, that's just...
What does that mean?
I
don't remember that.
He was like... So he used an example that he said wasn't good, but it was very telling. Where he was like, say you're at a party and someone's going to take an incriminating photo of you. You got to be on the offensive and make sure that doesn't happen. And I was like...
I think that's bullshit too.
I don't want to do that.
That seems to me like living kind of paranoid. And it's like, so you're just never going to take risks or do anything... wild or new because you're afraid it might come back to haunt you later.
You're working so hard to conform to this idea of yourself.
Yeah, and part of it, like, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but it's kind of like a victim blamey kind of mentality, because it's like if somebody takes a mistake you made from the past and says, oh, look, you fucked up, and so I'm not going to give you this job or endorse your business or something, then it's like, well, you know, I put the blame on that guy for being an asshole. Whoever's doing that to you. It's like I always encourage people to, like, take risks, even if you fuck up, whatever. And sooner or later, you will find your crowd. You'll find other people out there who have made it and who understand your position, and they'll take you under their wing.
I've been thinking a lot about, and I agree with that. But Kaya started watching the most recent Democratic debate, which is something I should really catch up on because
I watched a little bit of it the other day.
Vote soon, and I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I enjoy... Nah, never mind.
We can talk about politics if we want. I don't think it matters.
I generally side with Bernie on things, but
I wish we disagreed.
I'm not ravenous. Yeah,
because I do too.
I'm not ravenous like a Bernie bro tends to be.
No, yeah, some of them do get a little weird. I mean, because I don't really like politicians in general. And I want to, even if Bernie gets elected, even though I agree with him on a lot of things, I want to continue to be skeptical of him and anyone who's in power. And I don't want to just be a zealot. I don't like Mike Bloomberg very much.
He got trounced at the debate.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Shat upon.
Yeah.
And I knew that from watching like 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Oh, but what I was gonna say with that is like these politicians can't do anything.
Yeah.
They can't do anything. It'll come back to haunt them.
Yeah, I know. They're stuck.
They're stuck being that brand forever.
Well, you know what? That's one of the reasons that Trump became popular, because he was one guy who was like, whatever, I'm just going to be fuck it and I'm going to say the most rude, ridiculous shit. And people liked him about that.
You know, I almost respect it.
No, absolutely.
I don't respect at all the way he does it. Instead of, I would respect if he were like, I'm going to say the words that I want to say. No, you know what? Okay, here's a controversial statement. I do respect that. I just disagree with everything that he's done in that mindset.
I think
I don't agree with his views or the way he chooses to carry himself.
I've thought about this for a lot. It's like that's one of the few things about Trump that I really do respect is that he's not like, I mean, he is a kind of a fakey politician, but he's not as fakey as like a Hillary Clinton type who's like, I'm going to appeal to the youth and I'm going to make sure I look prim and proper. But
I don't understand the Hillary Clinton hate. I just don't know enough about her.
She's just really like phony product of the system type person. And she just looked, she's just a fucking dumbass. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of Democrats that I like a lot more than her, is what I'd say, but I would vote for her over Trump.
Oh yeah, I let me make that clear. I despise Trump.
Yeah.
I just don't like him.
I think my take on Trump is that it's like I respect the idea of just saying whatever you want if it's what you truly believe.
I don't think it is what he truly believes.
That's the other thing too. But I also so people like that I have a lot more respect for when they're not in a position of power. Like, he's someone who, I don't want someone like him making executive decisions that affect the whole country.
Exactly, because he's so unwilling. And I'd say he takes it too far. I respect the idea, but not the degree or the execution to which he's doing it. He takes it too far. He never compromises.
And I slightly...
And then when he does, he says it was his idea all along.
That's true, yeah. And whenever he fails, he blames someone else. He says, oh, it was because they did that, they did this. Like...
It's just so immature and awful to watch.
But I also... Trump getting elected, I think... Despite me being someone who's very radically left, I blame the left a little bit for him getting elected, especially the authoritarian side of the left. Because I think both the left and the right, especially on like the authoritarian side of the quadrant, they both use like shame tactics when they're trying to convince people of politics. Like, people on the right will be like, believe this and this and this, or else you're godless or whatever. And people on the left will be like, believe this and this and this and support all my policies, or else you're racist or something. And they both use this shame, and a lot of people are sick of this shame. And so when Trump comes out and he acts really shameless, that's when all these like racist xenophobes from the underground who were pushed down, and rightfully so, finally have a way to come back up to the surface. And that's the problem. It's
really interesting.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what you mean by authoritarian?
So
that's a word I'm unclear on.
Oh, it means, so I don't look at politics as the traditional like left and right axis.
Yeah.
It's like a quadrant where
the political compass means.
Yes, the political clumpus. Yes, the political clumpus. It's like there's like authoritarian right, which is like Trump and Nazis, and there's like authoritarian left, which is like communists, and then there's
is it libertarian, the other axis, or like the opposite?
Yeah, that's what it's called. And unfortunately, even the word libertarian has been soiled because there's a lot of like right-wing neckbeards who are like let's just build our own roads, and shit like that, who call themselves libertarians. So it's hard to even call yourself a libertarian now without being looked at as a part of that.
That's become the right now too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there's a libertarian right and a libertarian left, and I think,
well, for the sake of this, we'll just call it libertarian, and I'll know that it doesn't mean that.
Yeah, we've established that.
So libertarian left would be what?
Libertarian left would be like what I am. That would include like anarchists and
socialists towards that way.
Yeah, socialism is towards that way. And people who like usually I think of. And this is also a broad brush, so take it with a grain of salt. I tend to think of libertarian left as like the good left, like the people who fight against corrupt laws and against oppression and against like the oppressive qualities of state institutions and corporations and things like that, because that's fighting for your individual freedom with leftist values. And so that's what I tend to side on. Whereas like libertarian right would be like fighting for individuality and freedom with right-leaning values, which I think is okay. I think that's okay that exists, because if I was going to go and try to stop that, that would rocket me into the authoritarian. I think authoritarian, but I still disagree with it. And I think that a lot of the times, well, both sides play the victim a lot. But I think authoritarian I would just define as like people who are pro-censorship, people who are like and pro-shame, people who are trying to. It's like if people can't get away with
bad controlling.
Yes.
Bad orderly.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Bad orderly. It's like if people who can't get away with legally censoring something or someone's ideas, then they turn to shame instead as a tactic. They'll say like, oh, you believe this? Well, that's because you're this buzzword or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so that's
the way I think of it.
And then libertarian right would be like what libertarian has been come to colloquially mean.
Yeah, it would be like
Ron Swanson of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's like Ayn Rand, you know, like Atlas Shrugged kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like they're very that is some weird stuff. Have you ever heard or read any of that? I've never read the book.
Ayn Rand, yeah.
You've read it?
I've read
Atlas Shrugged is creepy.
No, I have never read any of her books, but I've read her like a paper on her objectivism.
Oh yeah, that's what it's called, Randian objectivism.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It's cuz it's kind of like some of it is parallel to like anarchist type beliefs, but it's also very pro-capitalist and pro-corporate. It's like the way I see it, and I'm saying this in a biased against it kind of way, so you know, like do your own research and stuff, but it seems like it's use your individual freedom to get power for yourself and disregard other people's feelings. So in a way you can kind of spin that as like personal empowerment, but they're always talking, it's like a very psychopathic kind of viewpoint. It's like get money for yourself, and if someone's in your way, then disregard them, and don't worry about them. And like, it's
very unfeeling, and it's not empathetic.
Yeah, it's not empathetic.
And I think when I read about it, part of me was like, well, I agree with like looking out for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with the individualism.
The individualism is great, but the like lack of caring for other people is a little.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy.
And I don't like the like bent towards like it's very money centric kind of viewpoint, and it seems more self-indulgent than self-empowering, I think is my big
That's
thing.
A really good
because I'm all for self-empowering things, and I tend to like things that are individualist more than collectivist, but it's all just I mean, it's all really complicated, you know. It's like it's so easy to say, oh, I'm one thing, and it could be an accurate way to describe yourself and your beliefs, but then that could also fall into something that you don't align with, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's there's probably lots of political viewpoints that don't even fit anywhere on the political compass. Like I don't even know. Maybe there's a third dimension. Who fucking knows? You know?
Yeah, I was just thinking about exactly that. I was like,
I don't know what it would be though.
If you can plot every viewpoint on an axis, you would have this multi-dimensional shape, and that would be your personality.
It'd be like a hypercube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
And I mean, even in individuals, it's like there's opinions I have that are in more than one place on the political compass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting.
And then I was thinking about, like, if you took that same two-axis system and applied it to a lot of different beliefs, you could, and then overlaid them, you'd get, like...
You mean the four? Oh, you know, it is two axes. What am I talking about?
The quadrant system
Yeah.
with two axes,
Yeah.
and you just did, like, a general graph, and you overlaid all of them, and you, like, surveyed people and measured them that way. You'd end up with a plot of a bunch of points that make up your beliefs.
Yeah.
And you could compare the shapes of plots with others and see what that looked like. And this seems all very dystopian as I'm saying it, but like I just think that would be interesting. I don't think it'd be right to judge someone based on that. I just think it'd be an interesting
There was
diagram.
another like political compass-esque thing that I saw the other day, and it was really fascinating.
Can I request that we pause for a
Sure,
second
yeah, I'll
so
get
you
some
can
more
get more
coffee.
coffee?
Yeah.
And I need to heat mine up. All right, back in a second.
Do you want to know what your Jersey Shore nickname is? Just fist pump your phone and get the Jersey wallpaper and nickname generator. Here's what you do. If you're a girl, simply send a text message with the word female and your name to 75555. Or if you're a guy, just text male and your name to 75555. So say your name is Mike. You'll text male Mike to 75555. Or go to jamster.com and subscribe to get up to 20 products like games for $9.99 a month. Remember, it's jamster.com.
Well,
We're back, and
more caffeinated than ever.
yeah. I ran through like 3 jokes, and all of them sucked.
I went with the anti-joke. It's just the truth.
Just don't say anything. It's funny. Wouldn't the true anti-joke be not funny?
Yeah, it's like my favorite joke.
Poor
I told you?
poor timing or something?
Yeah, what's the most important part of a joke time?
Yeah.
Nobody ever laughs at
Well,
it, which just proves the joke.
But that's weird. But then it's not a joke. But it's an anti-joke. But then it's like so like
it's its own infinite regression paradox.
that's weird.
That's
like,
why I love it so.
The why did the chicken cross the road was like an anti-joke. But that one's also not funny.
But that's from repetition.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
if thinking about it, it would be funny judging by my usual sense
Yeah,
of
because
humor.
I usually like stuff like that where it's like a really you don't expect something mundane to happen.
I was on YouTube as I usually am, and I got recommended. That was an awful sound. I hope that didn't pick up. Go ahead. Pick up. I got recommended a compilation of Oni Plays footage
Oh yeah.
featuring Psychic Pebbles,
Oh yeah. I like that guy.
aka Zach.
Yeah, he's funny.
And I don't know him from anything other than that. But
He
somebody...
makes animations
Oh, okay.
and stuff. Do you remember the "Get Out of My Car" meme?
That was him.
That was him. He made that.
Oh my god.
Like he didn't make the audio, obviously,
Yeah.
but he made the animation.
Okay, I gotta check him out. That was pretty damn funny.
Yeah, he makes a lot of funny stuff.
Someone in the comments was like, Zach Hadel? Is that his name?
I think so.
AKA Psychic Pebbles has ruined my sense of humor so that anytime me and my friends play Quiplash, I am just objectively the least funny person. And now I really desperately want to watch the stuff that he's in because I want to know what that means.
Well, yeah. Well, his is very it's very like aggressively dry or something. Like I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's like
That's how I wish to be.
you can do it. Yeah.
I'm already dry.
I think I got the Trump's America from him.
Holy shit,
I think
really?
I stole it from him.
This is literally Trump's America? It's like the funniest thing I've
'cause
ever heard.
I think he said that, but I don't remember what video it was in.
God damn, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about that one time I just went for a walk and that was in my head the whole time and I was
What?
literally
On
just
repeat?
walking around campus laughing at this is literally Trump's America.
I'm so glad that brought you so much joy.
That and your
24-hour Trump supporter?
24-hour Trump support, and most recently yesterday, Mike was we were in a class. It was when that guy was talking and taking pictures. Mike just sat down in this chair next to me and just spread his legs wide. He had pants on, unfortunately. And he just looked at me and he was like, "Hey, bro, like my spread?"
I was feeling so fucking good yesterday, and today I'm in like a crummy. Like it doesn't sound like it, but like I'm in like a crummy mood. It's getting a little bit better. I've been in
glad.
like a funk. Because I get like cloud depression, and it's like a really cloudy day, and
It's a weirdly cloudy day.
I've just been like super lethargic, and like I don't want to fucking do anything.
It's been.
I
was just
that always pops into my head.
Damn it! What was I even gonna say? It's been unfortunately hot lately. It was 77 degrees
I've
yesterday.
actually been enjoying the heat. Like I thought today it was like kind of windy and cold, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, because I was happy that it was finally tank top weather. Because I think I look really good in tank tops.
I agree,
and
then,
but and then I feel good when I look good.
This is literally gay pride.
It's true.
Only
gay men can wear tank tops.
New rule. I don't make them.
Sorry, I just work here.
Sorry.
I'm an employee.
I don't make the rules. They just turn me on.
Did we stop talking about something before the break?
Oh, that's really going to get them all riled up, isn't it?
And then we started talking about psychic pebbles instead.
We're going to have a bunch of angry Zoomers on our hands.
What does Zoomer mean?
It's the Gen Z version of Boomer.
Oh. I've also heard
really like
Coomer, which I think just means like a sad man who comes a lot or something.
I hate that.
I hate it too.
That's awful. Okay, Coomer sounds like the Radiohead album.
What's that guy?
Incidentally, it's target audience.
What is that meme? Like the famous meme, like format with the white face man, and it's like Wojak or something.
It sounds very familiar, but
He's
I don't remember.
You've definitely seen it, and it's like sometimes it's him crying and gritting his teeth.
Oh,
and
was that what his name is?
I think it's called Wojak.
Okay.
For some reason, whenever I see his face, I instantly get mad. I don't know why. Something about it pisses me off, and I can't explain it.
Well, it's just the people who use that think. It just feels like whoever made it thinks they're better than you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a very neckbeardy kind of like I'm smart, you're stupid kind of thing.
It is the fundamental form of neckbeard.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's interesting.
It is.
And it's
neckbeard manifest.
I don't even need a neck or a beard.
Have you seen that video of the guy getting arrested in like the 70s and he says, "Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest." It's the best. A succulent Chinese meal.
Gentlemen, this is democracy manifest.
Have you not seen that?
No.
Oh my.
It sounded like Dr. Farnsworth.
Oh my, a succulent Chinese meal.
You do it so much better.
Oh my, yes.
My vagina.
No.
3 inches deep.
You know what that means. Good news, boys. Looks like I'll reach after all.
That sounded like a mix between him and Sonic.
I know. I lapsed.
Yeah.
I was looking at the waveforms and not thinking about
like
my
Sonic.
voice. Blue, spiky, that's it.
Yeah.
Going fast.
You're right.
You want to see the Sonic movie with me and we can kiss?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can kiss now.
But where's Sonic?
You're right.
Isn't there someone you forgot to
I can't
kiss?
come with no Sonic.
Can't come unless you say it's high noon. Boy, we are just
we're
rapid
we're
fire
all
now.
over the place. Okay, wait. Let's pick one topic. What were we talking about? I never talked about my diagnosis.
Take it away.
All right. That was the stupidest transition in the world. Okay, so.
I hope you won't mind if I draw.
Oh, I don't fucking care. Go ahead. I think it's great.
I don't even care. Diagnosis.
So I went to a psychological evaluation like 2 or 3 weeks ago because I thought I had Asperger's because I had a lot of the symptoms and I was like researching it a lot and looking it up. And then I had to wait like 10 days. And last Monday was the day I got back the results. I had to go back into the place, and my psychologist had a big book of all my results because it was a long-ass test, and she flipped through them and talked to me individually about like what each thing means, which was really cool. And then she gave her overall diagnosis, and then she went and explained it in more detail. So apparently I just have like really severe ADHD, and a lot of the symptoms of autism that I thought I had, like poor social skills and like sometimes talking too loud or doing things that seem disrespectful, or like having a lot of difficulty paying attention, and like high depression and anxiety and like emotional turbulence are all things I was experiencing all the time. And so I thought I had autism, and apparently I just have ADHD. But it was really interesting and fascinating. She literally said, "You're definitely not autistic." So I know that much is true. But I do have apparently still really high depression and anxiety, which surprised me because I feel like I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. But I do know that especially now that like there's still a lot of progress I can make, and I still have so much potential to be even happier in my life, because I used to be way more depressed. So I feel really happy in comparison. And so it just like kind of caught me off guard that she said my like anxiety score was still way too high and stuff.
That's a really I like that. I like that interpretation of it, and I like that that's the case. I'm glad that you're happy. But
Thank you.
Glad you could be happier.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, and I think she kind of explained that the anxiety and depression were a consequence of the ADHD, both just because of how ADHD is, and also because of like a lot of the problems that ADHD has caused me throughout my life have like contributed to that. But it was weird. The test was really weird. The test took like 4 hours total. And the first 3 hours of it were kind of like a giant IQ test where they would just ask me, or this lady who was a different lady, had a book full of like
2 ladies? This is
yeah.
getting out of hand.
She had a book full of like puzzles that you were supposed to solve, and they were of different varieties, and like a lot of them were kind of like the kind of thing you see in like Scientific American, where it's like, here's a list of names of colors typed out, like red, green, blue, but then they were printed in different colors. So like red was printed in green ink, and it would be like red, green, blue, and she would say like, read all the words, or then she'd be like, now say all the colors, and then she'd say, now alternate them each one.
Oh,
and
Christ.
She would like write down my score, and there were a bunch of things like that. And the ones that I did the best on were like the visual ones. Like the one I did the absolute best on was one where it was like there was a grid with a bunch of blue circles, and like there was one circle on there was like a random assortment of blue circles, one for each grid space, and some of the grid spaces were blank. And then she would turn the page, and she'd get another page, and it would have a different arrangement. And then she would place a blank grid, and she would say, in the places where you last saw a blue circle, place. She also had like them cut out. She said, place a blue circle on top of that. And then she said, and in places where 2 blue circles overlap, place a white circle. And so then I'd have to make an arrangement according to those rules. And then she would test and see how accurate like my memory of where I saw the circles was. And apparently I did extremely well on that. And she told me like that was like one of the hardest ones for her, because she had taken the test. And she said like, she was like, I was one of the first people she ever saw to actually get through all of them.
Wow.
Because like usually it's like she'll make you stop once you start failing enough. Mm-hmm. And she said like, what was your technique? And I was like, I don't know. I just imagined them in front of me and then put them where I saw them. And she was like, oh, that's weird.
Brain too big.
but that's the thing. It's like, so I did really good on that. But then some of them I did like atrociously horrible. Like she even said, the other lady, the main psychologist who looked at my scores afterward, like when we were talking about this one that I did, she was like, oh yeah, you did really crappy on that one. I know.
I like doctors who are a little crass.
Yeah, it's just very straightforward. And the thing that I did the worst on was one where she read 2 stories. They were like a little paragraph each, and they were very like detail specific. Like it was like, Susan Ann Mary had 4 kids, and one Wednesday afternoon, she went to the police department because she spotted a blah, 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 whatever. And it was all like these really, like at 8:15 p.m., you know, like all these like really specific details. And then immediately after reciting the paragraph, and it was like a short paragraph, they would be like, okay, now tell me all the details you remember. and all I could remember was like, okay, there was a lady and she had an S in her name and she had 4 kids, and then I couldn't like remember fucking anything else. And so I scored really, really low on those kind of tests. So I'm really bad at remembering like heard information. And so
and yet seen information,
you're
you're astoundingly good at.
Yeah, it's
That's
weird.
Very cool.
It's really weird. And
I could have told you the herd information thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't
I'm
mean to
aware of
roast
that.
you, but I don't know that there's ever been a class where an assignment has been announced and you didn't ask every aspect of the assignment to be repeated. And I know you're not doing it on purpose. I'm just like,
Yeah,
huh.
I know, and I feel kind of a little bit like embarrassed when I have to do that, but especially
I'm
when
sorry, I will
no,
no
it's
longer
okay.
shame you for it. 'Cause
No, it's
I
okay.
definitely have.
I don't, but it's like sometimes people are mean about it, and they'll be like, "Come on, dude, really?" and stuff, and it's like I really like literally don't feel like I can help it, and it looks like laziness to people on the outside when it's really just like that whole time that the teacher was explaining things, it feels like it didn't even happen to me. It's like,
Very
everyone
strange.
else got this information and I didn't, and I don't understand why. And it's like, well, I guess I better at least ask.
Do you think maybe that's because if it's not something you're incredibly interested in, your brain like just filters it out as part of that ADHD
I
diagnosis?
think that's part of it, but I think it's all because sometimes I even have trouble paying attention to things I'm interested in, which is weird. It's not always the case. It's usually a lot easier when it's a subject I'm interested in, but I still have trouble with like dates and specific names and things like that. I can remember like concepts and stories really well. Like not like I can understand like the meat of a story, but not the details. Like if it's something I'm interested in, I'll make like more of a concerted effort to remember like a specific detail, but I'll even probably forget it later or something. But she even explained like, because they did tests where like they would ask me a question like that, and then later in the test, after we had moved on to lots of other problems, she would ask me more questions about that same problem again, because what they were testing with that was, is the information not entering my head, or is it entering my head and then I'm just having trouble accessing it?
Oh,
because those are
weird.
two different
Yeah.
concepts or two different issues. And so what they learned, because they learned that at least, especially with visual, I'm not having any problems accessing what's already in my head, because they did another thing where they were like, here's an image, and it was just like a square. It was just like an abstract shape with like 5 lines on this side, and it was a box with a triangle and a circle with the circle and a circle in it, and a cross shape. And then they'd flip it over and say, okay, now draw it. And I'd be able to draw it vaguely well. Like I wouldn't get all the details right, but I'd get a really good gist of it. And then like later they'd ask me to draw it again, and I'd draw exactly the same thing I drew the first time, even like without looking at anything. And so my problem isn't at all accessing what I have. My problem is just some things just don't get in my brain at all.
That's interesting.
It's just they go and they just bonk off. And I think it does have a lot to do with like if my brain doesn't naturally want to learn about it for whatever reason, it just won't. It just cuts it off and says, "Oh, this information's irrelevant."
That's
and,
very strange.
And it's not like a conscious choice I'm making. It's like it's my brain just fucking does that. And that's caused me like a lot of problems.
I feel like I've been the guy who's been like, "Come on, dude, pay
That's okay.
attention." So
I
I'd like to
don't blame
formally
you, and I
apologize.
don't want to make you feel bad, because it's understandable. But I'm working on it, and I think a positive way to look at it though is that at least when I ask the questions, that's at least showing that I'm responsible enough to care, that I do want to know what's going on. Because if I really didn't care and I was lazy, then I wouldn't even ask anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is, yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. And she showed me, it was essentially an IQ test. And she showed me like the bell curve thing. And so like she's would talk about individual skills that I have. Like one of them was the visual thing with like the dots and stuff. And she was like, on that one, you placed the 99th percentile of like ultra really good. And so it's like, you know how it's like I was
You were way out on that little tail on the right.
Side,
Yeah.
on the right. And then when it came to like the reading thing, or like the remembering the paragraph, I was on the tail on the left.
Wow.
Like, all the way down. And she did that with like every score, and like not a single one was in the middle. It was all like one here, and so she said my IQ probably averages out into the middle. But it's weird because that's not an accurate understanding.
True to form, all or nothing.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
it is weird. There were some that were like a little bit closer to the center, but most of them were still like in the not average area, and it was really weird to look at that and see like this is a mathematical representation of my brain, and it was really bizarre.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
That's very. I'm glad that you got that diagnosis.
Me too.
Because I mean, you just seemed so much more
I feel empowered.
happy and empowered. Yeah.
I feel like now at least, because that's the reason I wanted it in the first place, is because it's like now I have a name for this thing that I've felt my whole life and never understood and sometimes blamed myself for, and a lot of other people blamed me for, and it was something I could never explain. Now I have a name for it, and now I can do research about it, and I can control it better and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I also just want to make it also just like, I think a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but it's kind of like a mental health stigma that when you're getting diagnosed, that sometimes people seek mental health diagnoses so that they can avoid responsibility, because so that in the future I can just like leave paint bottles unopened and stuff.
Play
and
the
like,
ADHD card.
Oops, I'm ADHD. Can't blame me. And I don't want to be like that. It's like I don't want to just be like I'm not responsible for fucking things up because I have this thing, and you all have to be okay with that, or else you're ableist. It's like I don't want to be that kind of asshole. It's like I have this thing, and now that I know what it is, I can move in a direction to help myself.
Yeah, you can work with it.
Yeah,
or
I
you
can
know
learn
where
to
to
work
fight
with
it, and you know where to work with it.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's a tool. Again,
I'm gonna start getting therapy. She didn't recommend any kind of medication that I'm not already taking, which I think is a good thing, because I think being over medicated can be a bad thing sometimes.
Of course, yeah. I think we tend to. Well, no, I won't express an opinion. I've heard that is a problem in a lot of
over medicating or whatever.
first world countries. Yeah,
yeah, and that makes sense. I guess I don't know. That's a really tricky subject. That's a whole.
I know nothing about that. I'm not going to touch it. But I'm glad.
I think in that one I'm very like, oh yeah, I can see both sides, and so I can't fucking come up with an idea.
I'm glad that you learned all this, and that's one of the reasons why I've been thinking about my own brain so much. Is like it's responsible for just about everything I could possibly experience.
Isn't it weird?
And
wild.
yet I never have gotten it measured in any sort of way to see what it's like.
I want to get a brain scan.
That'd be cool, but I don't know if that'd be as much like. I was gonna say fun, as informative for me as like doing one of those.
No, it probably wouldn't.
Evaluations.
But it's always just been. You know what? I've never seen like an experiment of. I've even like looked this up because I was curious. I want to see like what this brain scan of like a really creative artist looks like while they're making art. It's like I've never seen anyone do that experiment, and I think it'd be really fucking cool. And I wonder if it varies between artists.
Yeah,
or if there is some kind of pattern.
I think constantly about the differences in people's associations. Like when I look at a tree, like the one outside my window that I'm looking at right now, there's this incredibly complex web of very subtle feelings that I've developed over my life.
Yeah.
And those are completely individual. No one else feels that way.
That's really cool.
Everyone thinks about a tree differently in a subtle way, and yet we can all agree on certain parts of it.
Well, you know, that's a thing about autism too, because like I was researching a lot about autism when I thought about it. One thing that differs autistic brains from most people's brains is that a lot of people are able to take like these experiences like a tree or whatever, and they know they have all these individual experiences about it, but usually when they talk about trees or they think about trees for other purposes, they don't think about specific trees. They think about the abstract idea of a tree. You know, like, have you ever heard of like the idea of Plato's like
fundamental forms? I've been making jokes about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
I was like, it's the fundamental form of a neckbeard.
Oh yeah.
I made it this episode.
I didn't even think of that.
God, pay attention.
But the idea is like the idea of a tree that you have in your head when you're using it for just talking about the idea of a tree is a tree that doesn't really exist. Mm-hmm. It's just a weird abstract tree. But like autistic people struggle with that. They have struggle with the idea of like an abstract tree. When they think of trees, they have to think of a specific tree that they remembered in their life. And
Wow, that's
and like
really cool.
All and I mean, and this could be like talk or to an expert specifically, because this is just kind of like a vague layman's understanding of this concept. But this is what I learned and stuff. So it's like they have to think about like every single tree they ever thought of or that they ever saw, and they remember it really fucking well.
Wow.
They remember like every like specific car model or whatever. Or that's why they're so good at remembering like seemingly trivial facts. It's like that's why there's this stereotype of like, oh, they can list every fucking type of train. It's because they don't. Most people see 5 different types of trains and you just think, oh, train, and then you have a train. Oh, you have like an abstract train thing in your head.
Yeah.
But they'll go like, oh no, we have the ZX75000 bullet train whatever thing invented in France, and then they have like all this information about these specific things because they're individual like items in their brain or something.
God, I want to get my brain tested more than ever because I have certain memory traits that fit that description.
Oh, interesting. Maybe you're touched. Maybe you're a little autistic. You've got
That's such a Southern belle.
I
thing
know.
to say. I love it. I don't know.
I mean, you're orderly.
I
That's
have
kind of autistic.
it's a little autistic. For you. I'm gonna retract that joke too.
Yeah.
I don't like that one. That was in poor taste.
Yeah.
I do like order. I know my memory. So when you were talking about like I can get the gist of a story but not the details,
Yeah.
I'm exactly the opposite.
Oh, really?
I was like, let me think of one of my favorite movies. And I don't know why, but How to Train Your Dragon came to mind.
Yeah.
I literally had to sit here and think for like a full minute about what the plot was.
Oh, really?
But I remember so much in the way of details.
That's fascinating.
And like what pencil he's drawing with when he's planning out the design for Toothless's new tail.
Yeah.
And the music and like the lighting and the shots. And
Yeah.
I remember only details.
That's
That's why
weird.
it's hard for me to write stories.
Well, you know what?
Because I know like I want to draw this, but I don't know where it
I
fits
can't
in.
believe you might be more autistic than I am.
God, they
Because-
said it couldn't be done.
The thing was like one of the tests they did. This was after the IQ thing. I went to see my main lady. This was like for the last hour. My side bitch. And they had me. They did a wordless picture book experiment.
Oh,
where it was like,
hell.
They gave me a thing, and it was about like a bunch of frogs that went rampant on a city or something.
Oh, fuck.
And it was just had no words, and they were like, okay, look at all the images and try to piece together a story. And she wrote down that I created an incredibly like elaborate, really funny story that used like really interesting words, and that I could like put emotions into the characters that I made up and stuff. And she said like, and that I created like a complete narrative that was all like my own. And she said that's something that autistic people really struggle with, which is one of the reasons she said I was definitely not
Oh
autistic.
my God, I absolutely could not do that. I have such trouble. This is that surface tension that I drew?
Yeah.
That's partly why I am so able to look at surface level things and remember details and like qualities that are visually or like immediate details.
Yeah.
I love and I latch onto.
Yeah.
And love makes it sound very conscious, but unconsciously I latch onto those. And like that's one of the reasons I can draw in 3D space is because my brain has a really easy time constructing a 3D like model in my head and viewing it from any angle that I want. Not so good. It's not precise, but it's a good guess.
Yeah.
But then, like, when you ask me to write a story, who knows? Or if you ask me to, like, well, what knowing all these details, analyze it. I'm like, I don't know. All I know is these details that I've remembered.
Well, maybe that's why stylization's so difficult for you, or has been. I mean, and it's so easy for me because it's like my MO is stylization, and realism is a challenge for me because I think the way my brain works is like it uses like a thing that's a symbol for a mouth or a symbol for eyes, and just says, okay, now just cut and paste those on there instead of thinking about them as what they are.
I have so much trouble doing that. I cannot like. I feel whenever I try and stylize, I'm like, well, that's not what it actually looks like.
Yeah,
and
interesting.
That's been a thing I've had to quash.
That's
lately.
interesting.
Wonderful word. I love that word.
We've both been kind of like trying to push ourselves in areas that we're not good at. Because I've been trying to say, one of the things I've been working on, and I've been really proud of myself, is like getting anatomy better. And I'm still not great at it, but like all those classes I took, it's like, holy crap, this actually kind of like looks like it makes sense instead of just having like 2 lines for an arm or something, you know?
Yeah, and I know I've said it before and a lot, but I do think it's interesting and true that I did art backwards. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think the way that most people do it is they see a style that they like, and they want to draw that style first.
Yeah,
and
that's
for
what I
me,
did.
it was like, I love the way this tree looks. I want to draw that exactly like it looks.
That's really cool, though.
And then now I'm just barely learning to stylize.
Yeah.
So I did it that way, and it took me forever. And people do it usually with like characters too, because humans like humans. So they'll want to draw like an anime face. That's such a common thing to learn first.
Yeah.
I never had an anime phase because I
I
started
didn't
with
either,
realism.
actually.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I had a vague one, but it was already like way past the time where I had already been really into art.
Would you say you've had like a cartoon phase though?
My whole life is a cartoon
Okay.
phase.
I'm just now entering my cartoon phase.
I came out the pussy
in a cartoon phase.
fucking loving cartoons.
Fucking cartoons.
I remember being like 4 or 5 years old and having a dream that I was Tommy Pickles from the. I've had dreams. I've had multiple dreams. Even one recently, but I don't remember what it was. Like I've had dreams that were like in hand drawn animation.
God, that's cool.
It's fucking weird. I don't remember what the last one was. It was, but I've had dreams like that.
God, I'm sorry. I'm thinking so much about my own brain now.
No, it's a fun thing to think about. Brain science is incredible. Oh, you would like, I've talked about before, Vsauce's Mind Field show.
Yeah,
it's
I do
so
love brain
fucking
science.
cool.
And I've seen one episode of that. I don't remember what it was though.
They came out with a really good Halloween one that was called like "What's the Scariest Thing," and it was like going through all the. It was great. It was like going through different types of fear and different representations of fear, and like the theory was like, what is the scariest thing imaginable? And I don't remember what the answer was. See, like I forget. One of the things, but I just remember it being really cool. And one of the things I was gonna go back to is like with stories. It's like my favorite movie is The Shining, and it's one of my favorite just like narratives ever. And I could talk about the story all day long.
Don't spoil.
I won't.
Still haven't seen it.
Just talking about it, and it's like I love the characters. All of them are great, and I could talk forever and ever about like there's so many conspiracy theories about that movie. Like there is like almost a cult of people who like look, I think, way too hard into that.
People who look, I think, way too hot.
But it's like I still sometimes, even though I've seen that movie like upwards of 20 times, and it's like my favorite movie, sometimes I still forget some of the characters' names and who the actors are who played them.
That's amazing.
And who, like, I forget the location of where it was filmed and other facts like that, and it's stuff like that. And that's stuff that I have to remind myself of. When I could, like, I could instantly, like, say the plot and all the nuances about it and stuff. So it's weird.
I'm so damn curious about my brain now.
Yeah.
You've really done it to me.
It's really fascinating.
I'm thinking about the quality of my thoughts, like how I think rather than what I think about, or I guess both.
Yeah.
Hour and 7.
It's a long one.
It's 4:20. Would you like to keep going?
Yeah, I want to go till 5.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've got stuff to talk about.
Sweet.
So one of the reasons that I often feel, I don't know, in high school I would have. I hesitate to say dissociative episodes because I think that carries a lot more of a diagnosed medical condition sort of feeling with it or meaning with it than I understand, or than I don't think I can call it that. But I would have these episodes where, like, and it would happen when something out of my regular routine was going on. So basically anytime I did anything fun, it was very much like... the 420 notification. It's time, his phone says. Go ahead, smoke up.
I haven't smoked weed in a long ass time.
Yeah, it's not for me. I think I've decided. I don't like ruining my weekends. I like doing stuff. I would have these periods of time that would last hours or maybe a day, where it was like I was sitting behind my own eyeballs just watching without real control.
I've had that before, but it doesn't usually last more than like a half hour.
Oh, I would have it all day.
Yeah.
Like many times a week.
Yeah, I hate it. That's scary.
It's very
emotion.
scary. Like it truly felt like my brain and my body were two different organisms entirely.
Maybe it's actually like maybe you actually do have something that could be diagnosed. Like maybe you're being too like easy on yourself or something.
Maybe that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And I still have them occasionally. I sort of have learned to like them.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's very peaceful in a way, because I'm removed from the world by a degree.
Like a rainy day kind of feeling.
Absolutely like
but
that.
More intense or something.
That's why I love rainy days.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's bad, and sometimes I don't feel like I'm there
Yeah.
appreciating what I have in that moment.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel like I'm acting the way I want to act.
Almost kind of like out of body adjacent.
Very close. But it's like I've receded inward. I'm
Oh,
way too far
weird.
deep into my own
Inward
body.
body experience.
That's their word.
Oh fuck! I did not. I literally didn't mean to say inward. I've never noticed that the word inward.
Yeah.
Going inward is also inward.
There's a Vine about that I remember specifically where it's like, do I say? I'll just say it. Not the N-word. God.
Finally.
A white man says the N-word. No, it's like this dude, this black man at a gate that says, like pull or something, and he's pushing on it, and this white guy walks up behind, and he says inward, and he's like, what? And he just says the word inward.
I get it, but still.
And he's like push inward.
Holy shit.
And he's like, oh. And I think about it a lot. I think about it anytime anyone says inward, unfortunately.
That's weird.
What was I talking about? My little inward brain?
Yeah. It's not your fault.
Ay.
You need to reclaim that.
No. Fine, leave it in. I do feel bad, but leave it in.
Whatever.
I was thinking that maybe it's because I get so caught up looking at details that I don't have time to synthesize them into this is going on in front of me. I just bounce from like the way a leaf looks to the way the air feels
That's
to the
strange.
way like a car is moving, and I don't ever. I'm just like skimming around on the surface.
Yeah.
I can't like put them together.
I love your surface tension thing.
Thank you.
That is one of your. I think that's one of your best.
It's my most personal. That's for sure. I want to do more like it.
I mean, I still want to. I like last semester I did a lot that were really personal, and that was like a big step for me. But I still want to keep doing more. I want to keep putting more like heart into it.
You know what I'm realizing now is that my favorite movies and media are not the ones that I think have the strongest story. They're the ones that I feel build the most interesting world.
Oh, that would make sense to you.
Or the most appealing world.
Yeah.
So, like, I love Interstellar.
I've never seen it. I want to,
The story is admittedly kind of weak, but it's just visually phenomenal.
I heard it's
so
really
much
cool.
fun. I saw it in IMAX. I feel like, unfortunately, that's like the only way that does it justice. So if it's playing on a big screen, go see it.
I want to see
phenomenal.
2001: Space Odyssey in IMAX.
Yeah, me too. I think I watched it on my laptop. It wasn't
that. Yeah,
wasn't,
that's like looking
it.
at a picture of a painting.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same.
But so like Interstellar, Over the Garden Wall, I think has a really good story.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it still does the episodic thing where like. And that's one that I've overcome, that like I don't really understand the story, or I can't recall the story by sheer amount of rewatching because I love it so much. But what drew me to that show was the little details.
Yeah.
And like the way the backgrounds are. That's why I fucking love backgrounds and not character
That's
animation.
interesting. Yeah. I like backgrounds too, but because I like world building and backgrounds too, but I think one thing that differs between you and me is that I always think of background details and world building as serving the purpose of reflecting something back in the characters even stronger. You know, it's like they're not just there for their own sake. It's so it can help move the story forward or something.
Yeah, and I really want to. That's what I want to. I want to just sheer force of will and practice overcome that.
Yeah.
That, not inability, but
well,
that.
I think to do that you have to be kind of careful because it's like there's a difference between moving into an area that you're unfamiliar with and simply forcing yourself to be the opposite of what you actually are. Because it's like you have to you can't really change your brain that much. You have to kind of be like, this is what I have to work with, and I just have to kind of ride with the flow and like.
That's what I want to do. I want to know how
Yeah.
to steer my detail-oriented brain that's really good at constructing a single scene but not good at putting them together. I want to teach that brain how to write a story.
That's interesting.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, that'd probably come up with really interesting results because it's like you're working specifically with your limitations, and that's one of the places that creativity comes from, I think.
Creativity, I don't think it can exist without limitations.
You know what? Maybe that's how I learned to love like details in the sense of like, like the backgrounds I'm doing now. It's like I add a lot of details.
Those are nicely detailed. Those
Thank
are
you.
really nice.
But they're all like details that I came up with. It's not like something that existed that I have to memorize. And all the details I put there for like a specific purpose to like add more information to the characters. It's like and that's something that I learned from like expressionist art and stuff. It's like everything in the environment serves the purpose of reflecting the mental state of the characters or their personalities or something. And so me having a love for characters and personalities and stories is a way for me to explore the world of details, which is usually foreign to me,
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you're gonna like do the opposite.
Mine's got to be the opposite. I'm thinking right now, is it a really good idea or a really bad idea to collaborate on an animation?
Me and you.
Me background, you
I
character.
think it'd be better than not doing it.
I think you're right. I think it'd be a good learning
Even
experience.
if it's a failure, it's fucking whatever. Who cares?
I'd love to fucking draw backgrounds. You just give me like the loosest idea, and like, I'm doing it.
Hell yeah.
Ugh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We should collaborate. I think that'd be really interesting.
That'd be awesome. We don't have very many collaborative pieces, if any. Do we have any?
I think this podcast is like the closest thing you could consider a collaborative work.
And look how successful this is.
Yeah, just wait.
Wah, wah. We can't even afford a soundboard.
Yeah.
That's right.
What else is there to talk about?
I am so soul searchy and weird right now.
I feel that way too. I feel good though. I knew that this podcast coming and recording today was gonna help me feel better.
You have expelled your funk all over me. I'm glad. I'm a willful recipient of your funk.
Fucking yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Let me retrieve something from my brain. Nope. No thought. Head empty.
Damn it! What the fuck? We were doing so good, and now we just stopped.
The well has run dry.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Brains are cool.
I want a smooth one like koalas.
Does that mean they're stupid?
Mm-hmm.
They have smooth?
They got smooth.
They have no wrinkles.
They got no wrinkles. They ironed them all out years ago.
Girl. Or is that the only? There's got to be more animals that are like that.
I don't actually want a smooth brain. I love complex thought.
Yeah.
Whenever I have one, it's a momentous occasion.
Yeah, I like it too.
But for a long time, I've heard that. Let me rephrase. I've heard that for a long time, people didn't think you could keep them in captivity because
brains.
Koalas. Oh. There's 2 captive brains in this room right now.
I had a fucking... Wait, keep going.
People thought you couldn't keep them in captivity because they needed their environment or they were hypersensitive to their environment because they wouldn't eat. But in reality, because they lack any semblance of critical thinking, they didn't understand that eucalyptus leaves were eucalyptus leaves if they were just like given to them on a plate.
Wow.
They had to be on a branch.
Wait, and this
or they wouldn't eat them because they didn't know it was eucalyptus.
This is true?
This is true.
Holy shit.
They're just that stupid.
I wonder if sloths are that dumb. They seem like they would be.
They also seem kind of cool and harmless.
Sloths? Yeah, they're cool.
They're going so slow. What are they going to do?
Yeah. They can't. They seem like if they were fast, they could kill you or something.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, they're not.
It's like if you took improv. Who would stop them?
Yeah, you're right. Nothing can be done. That is interesting though. You think evolution would have killed them off by now if they're that fucking stupid?
It's trying its hardest.
I don't think koalas are cute. I'm just gonna say it. A lot of people think they are. I don't.
Their
like
noses are weird.
I've never thought they were cute.
I don't think they're ugly, but I just think they're an animal.
Yeah, they're
I'm
just
like,
kind of.
okay.
I think they side more on the ugly side of the spectrum, but
Where do you fall on the ugly spectrum? We're all on it.
fucking sexy.
Same, bro.
Oh, I do want to
I
elaborate
fall on the
on.
cock spectrum. Anyway.
I do want to elaborate on one other thing though. Going back to like my diagnosis.
Yeah, please.
It was interesting that. So one of the things she said is she said I had a weird variant of ADHD. She said that she noticed personally, and some other like of her colleagues have noticed that like ADHD kind of has differentiable differences within different people.
Huh.
So, and it's something that she said isn't very talked about, and there aren't a lot of papers written about. So it's kind of like a new thing that there might be different strains of ADHD.
Ooh.
And what she described to me is that
What
I
a
have.
hipster.
She described to me.
Attention deficit hipster disorder.
Oh fuck! You're
Sorry.
right.
Go ahead.
One of the things she described to me was that she called mine ADHD of the intellectual variety, which means the things that are like I described before, the things that are so all over the place are my skills specifically, and it's kind of different with people who have other forms of ADHD, which I don't understand as much, where it's literally just. I noticed it. I said "just" that time. It's literally just.
You don't have to change.
No,
I just thought it was
but
cool.
It's weird, but it's like some people will just have problems paying attention to anything, and for some people like me, I can focus on like a drawing or something or an animation for hours and hours and hours, and if it's something I love, then I have no problem paying attention to it. And that's also an autistic thing, which is one of the reasons I thought that. But apparently that's not the same for every ADHD patient. And not all ADHD patients have like the same like extremely high score, extremely low score IQ thing that I have. And so those differences made it so she said, okay, this is like a specific kind or something.
That's really interesting.
And one of the other things about the autism is like, one of the other things is like when I was younger, I don't have this as much anymore because I've done a lot of practicing, but like I used to have a lot of trouble with having eye contact with people.
Oh.
And I used to have a lot of trouble. I still have trouble with social skills, but I used to like not have any, and I wouldn't even talk to people because I was so afraid.
Wow.
And
now you're an extrovert of the highest order.
yeah, well, it's weird. Like I think I always was an extrovert. Now that I think of it, I think it was just that like I was in a situation where I couldn't handle it or something, and like. Because I told her a lot about my life and my experiences, and so she theorizes that the reason I had trouble with eye contact wasn't because of autism; it was just because I was afraid of people.
Huh.
And
Wait. Sorry, keep going.
and like the thing that also differentiates me from autism is even if I have some of the same symptoms, it's the reasons behind those things that's different. Like if I have bad social skills. Thing about autistic people is they have bad social skills and they usually don't care either. I sometimes have bad social skills, but I also care and I notice and I recognize when people are upset with me and I recognize when I embarrass people. And that's something that autistic people don't even do at all. And one of the things she theorized was that one of the reasons some of my social skills might have not developed was simply because when I was young, I wasn't paying attention. And that's why I don't have those things. Like I wasn't paying attention to what other kids were doing or how I should react or how I was being socially reprimanded for my actions and stuff just because my brain didn't find it interesting. And so since I didn't develop those things, that carried into adulthood.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's weird. Isn't it incredible? Like learning about that stuff. It's like I love it when it explains things that I couldn't explain before. That just seemed like this intangible, nebulous thing.
Yeah, I've been going to therapy recently, and one of the things my therapist said lately was, or like the last session was, seems like you've had a lot of shame in your life.
Oh,
I was
interesting.
like, oh fuck. You just had to go and say it.
Oh.
Like it just hit me that like you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like it's been mostly internal.
Yeah.
But I've been like shaming myself about things for a long time.
That's interesting.
And I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
breakthroughs. They call
fucking
them.
hate shame.
Yeah, it's very insidious because it gets in you.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's a good motivation
And
because it's coming from within.
Yeah.
But it can be bad.
And it's
usually
and
almost always is.
I personally theorize that it's like extremely pervasive in our modern culture for the benefit of certain people with power. But that's just my like conspiracy thing. But
yeah, so I'm dying to go back to therapy and find out more, but I'll have to tune in next month.
Yeah.
When I have my next session. But that's just, I'm only 2 sessions in, and already I feel like I know myself better, and I enjoy it, and I would recommend anybody do it.
I'm excited because I'm gonna start getting like specific therapy now that I have this thing, and so people are gonna be able to help me with my social skills. And now I also have hope that like it's something I can learn, because I did notice growing up that like in certain instances I have been able to learn social skills that I didn't have before. Like I do look people in the eyes now, and I can have a somewhat normal conversation, at least at first. And you know, like
At least at first.
I could be a lot ruder than I am.
Yeah, you aren't rude at all. I don't like it rude in the sense that like you don't care what other people think.
Yeah, I think sometimes it comes across that way just because like I'm interested in things that a lot of people find disturbing, and I'll just start talking about them and not really think that it might be upsetting to someone. And it's not because I don't actually care. It's just because my brain is so focused on the thing I'm interested in that it doesn't even have the resources to, like, the energy to think about the social aspects of what's going on in the moment.
Yeah, I have seen that you get really incredibly enthusiastic about things to a degree that I have not seen anybody else get enthusiastic about. Yeah, like you'll just turn your head to the heavens and go, "Oh fuck!" in the middle of class when somebody mentions an animator you like, and I know it's genuine. I'm just like, "That's amazing." I've never seen it before. I've never seen something so severe. What was I thinking about? Yeah, I think when I first met you, I thought you didn't care, and I thought you were kind of rude, and I was completely wrong. And I'm glad I kept getting to know you to realize that was the case and that I was wrong.
See, that's why I'm thankful for like all you guys. That's how I know you guys are friends, because even when I've like pissed you off and made you guys mad, whether it really even was my fault or not, you've continued to stick by me anyway, and that's one of the reasons I love you guys so much.
Our group of friends is a really good one. I'm very glad we all found each other. It's really been nice.
I'm gonna be sad when you guys move, but it has at least instilled hope and confidence in me that there's more people out there like you, and I can probably find another group.
Yeah, and same for me. Like, it's a closer friendship and a more supportive friendship than I've known before.
Yeah.
You know, with a few notable exceptions.
Yeah.
People that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
You know who you are. And it's one of those things that, like, it's there now. It won't go away when my friends go away.
Yes. I'm so happy that, like, I feel like I've done college right. Like, I'm going to leave college having mostly good memories.
Yeah,
me
too.
I'm so glad I didn't fuck this up.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me so happy.
College is about way different things than I thought going into it.
I've learned way more about myself. I feel like I've grown more in the past 4 years in my whole life.
Me too.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Go
to college if you want, kids, but otherwise just keep thinking about who you are.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need
be
college
ashamed
to
of
have
it.
these experiences, but it's one outlet for them.
It could just be that's like maybe that age range is where your brain starts to
that too, maybe
deal with those issues the most.
Yeah.
Or like you've thought about enough. You've run through everything else. Might as well think about yourself.
I think for me personally, it's getting away from my family has helped a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think and I think this is true for like a lot of people. Going back to my weird conspiracy thing, it's like I think that a lot of the insecurities and shame I've had were taught to me by my parents and by people, and I kind of almost even proved it, because then like when my mom found out that I was into cross-dressing and stuff, she like made me get in the car with her, and she was screaming and crying and drove me around the block, and she was like, "I need to know what's going on." And she was like, "How can you be so insecure that you feel like you need to dress like the opposite sex?" And then I was trying to be really, I recorded it all too, because I was like, I want to have this as a record. And then I was trying to be really calm and just explain everything. Like, I just find it fun. It makes me feel good. And then she said like, "You're acting like a spoiled, entitled brat."
What?
And stuff like that. And
That's
it was
so
like,
weird.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. But it just kind of showed me that, like, okay, I guess if she's that upset and I'm not hurting anyone, then that almost kind of proves to me in my head that she's the one who has the problem and not me.
You know what? You know what was really kind of eye-opening for all that I didn't enjoy about that guy, and I'm not going to name names since I sort of bashed on him.
Mm-hmm.
That guy who gave the talk yesterday. What was really interesting was that he cited some research. Didn't cite it very specifically, but I'm sure you could probably back it up. It seems pretty reasonable, but I never thought about it. And that was that you are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time around.
That was
cool. And I was like, oh my God. I see it. I am rising Mike.
Yeah.
I have rising Kaya.
Yeah.
I am... I was a lot of my parents without knowing it.
Yeah.
That I still see.
Me fucking too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the hate and anger I had towards a lot of other people was like projection. And I think that happened. I think a lot of hate is based on that. Because I even used to see like when I thought of like guys wearing girl clothes or something, I would think, oh, that's so fucking pretentious or whatever. And I would just kind of write it off. And then I just realized somewhere along the line that I was only saying that to protect myself from coming to terms that it was something I actually wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that I just didn't want to admit that to myself because I was afraid of the repercussions. Like, what if my family finds out? What if this happens, that happens? And now I'm over it, and now I feel a lot better. So it's really weird. Because shame is a great way to control people. It's like that's why people do it. And people control people when they don't feel like they have control over their own lives. It's like people who feel like they have personal autonomy don't have any reason to try to control other people.
Yeah. Do you think this recent diagnosis will affect your art in any way? Do you have like an inspiration to do art about this?
Yes, I do. I don't know. It depends on what you mean, because I am going to do a thing in Yana's class. I'm going to do that comic thing about ADHD.
Oh, cool.
Now that I learned about it. But I don't think it's going to affect my art in the sense of like it's going to change the quality or the, I don't know, the voice of it in any way. I don't think it's going to. Maybe it'll strengthen it. I don't know. I'll just see. I have no idea.
God, this is why I was thinking. Sorry, I sort of spaced out there, but I heard that you are going to do it about ADHD, and it will probably strengthen it with the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I hope that was most of it.
Yeah, pretty much. It might. I don't know.
Who can really say?
Yeah, exactly.
Two people who don't pay attention sometimes.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the thing I've been saying about like being really good with details and really bad with full storylines or like broader meanings. Might be why I have such trouble coming up with project ideas.
Oh, but you always come with one at the last minute. And it's always really fucking cool.
Well, thanks. I didn't really like my last project in there.
The Rock?
Yeah.
I like The Rock.
Well, the thing with me is I've trained my like craft enough that I'm confident. I'm going to brag here. I'm confident that I can make something impressive at any given time.
Yeah.
But that's not why I do it. It's just like what I fall back on. So I've been trying. That's like why I've been making stuff that isn't supposed to look good.
I've been impressed with some of the stylized shit you've been doing.
Thank you.
Like those characters for your animation I've never seen you do anything like that.
I just want to. Well, I'm looking at you when I do it. Don't make
teach the boys not to stare.
I love that joke so much.
I don't even know what it's from. But
it was some. It was, oh wow, that's paging Dr. Freud. It was actually teach the girls not to stare.
Really?
But
what's it from?
It was just some tweet that was like jokingly mocking like it was one tweet that was, or maybe it was on Tumblr. It was a text-based post somewhere that someone said like, guys, when will you learn that it's not acceptable to walk around in boxers? And somebody was like, don't control the way we dress. Teach the girls not to stare. And I guess
that's funny, actually.
I turned it into teach the boys not to stare because, well, teach them and
stop having breasts.
It's kind of abolish breasts.
I don't actually mean that, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
That's a jook.
I
ain't no slut shamer.
Do you remember
I'm a slut promoter?
Me too. Yeah. Do you remember
They're hot.
Remember the thing you said to me yesterday when I was like, yesterday I said this. I was like, the other day Kaya told me that nobody in the world presents reads as bi except for me.
It's true.
And Mike was like, do you want to say it?
What did I say?
You were like, yeah, I definitely look at you and I'm like, the barn door swings both ways on that one.
Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man. Well, what was I even talking about before?
I don't know.
Shish.
How
Oh.
you got picked up things from your parents?
Sort of, and how like the Yana thing,
Oh.
or I have so much trouble coming up with broader narratives because that's just not what my brain does first.
Yeah.
And it's like I can,
Yeah.
but they're not nearly the quality of like my standalone illustrations that I just do for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like that person sitting on a tree over there.
Yeah.
I did just as a doodle,
Yeah.
and it implies some sort of narrative, but I have no clue what that is.
Well, that's a talent in its own. Like that's a completely valid way of storytelling too.
Yeah, I wish I could wrangle it a little more.
Because like once again, this is gonna be the whole theme for the podcast. Is that like I'm the opposite. It's like I've always had lots of story ideas in my head that just kind of pop in there, and then it's like I have trouble funneling them and saying, okay, like which one is the best and which one can I put this character onto, and like I wanna like mix all these stories together, and instead I have to make effort to kind of like separate them and say like, okay, let's just dial it back a little and just do this, just focus on this concept and do this. It's because it's like I see all these things out in the world and I get all these ideas, and it's like, oh, I have like 500 stories and they all want to come out of my mouth at once. You know, I just want to like throw them up or something.
I'm very jealous of that ability. I like.
Well, it's good
story
and
ideas.
bad, just like your stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it gives me problems too.
I see like a single storyline that you know how the other day I was like, all my favorite things are about somebody getting lost in the forest.
Oh yeah,
So it's like this is a very basic plot.
yeah.
What I want to do is change up the details.
Oh yeah.
And that's what happens with me. I don't have like a new story idea. Maybe there aren't any new story ideas.
No,
but
yeah. Well, now we're getting into Joseph Campbell
Yeah.
stuff, because a lot of my stories, like even if they're a lot different, they have similar characters. I have like reoccurring like character types that I do, but I usually do them in a different way, and they have different journeys each time and stuff like that. There is something else I wanted to talk about though. I think you might find this interesting. I'm taking a philosophy / psychology class, and it's been pretty interesting. Mostly what we've been talking about basically the entire time, we've been talking both about like the differences between mental illnesses and neurological disorders, because there is a difference, and also like the difference between that and like somatic, meaning like bodily illnesses.
Yeah.
And because there are important differences, even though it seems like they're obviously different. And also, one of the things we've been focusing on now mostly, and it's mostly like a discussion class, is like the question of moral responsibility when it comes to mental illnesses.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's still
That's
something
really
that's like
interesting.
not answered. And I usually always kind of fall on the side of like, even if you have a mental illness, you're still responsible for your actions. But there becomes a problem when it's kind of different depending on the mental illness, because there's something like if you have ADHD, for example, it like that wouldn't excuse me to go run around and be obnoxious and not care about people's feelings and then just blame it on my ADHD. But if you have something like paranoid schizophrenia, where you literally black out for a moment and like you don't understand that you're not in reality anymore, like where it's we talk about situations where it's like if your brain literally convinces you that some random person you see is trying to kill your mom, and then you go and kill that person, then in the internal logic of your disorder, you are doing the morally correct thing. And so should you be held accountable for that?
Schizophrenia is so scary.
It is. Because
it's not like you said, that this hypothetical person's brain has convinced them of something.
Yeah.
If you can't trust your brain, what can you do?
Yes, it's like I would kill someone who was going to kill someone I loved.
Yeah.
So like to protect them.
And I wouldn't even feel like if you honestly believed that, I couldn't honestly.
I can't say, oh, you're a bad person.
I couldn't think he's a bad person who deserves to be punished for that.
Yeah,
it's just
like
unfortunate
maybe
that it happened.
put into an institution to get help, I can see, but not like thrown in jail or even reprimanded because they're a victim too. And it's I think one of the defining things that separated those two types of mental illnesses is whether or not the mental illness impairs your agency as an individual, like your ability to have autonomy over yourself, and whether or not something like ADHD or depression or bipolar does that is also up for debate. You know, because it could do that for varying degrees within an individual person or in individual moments or episodes of that disorder or something, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really complicated issue, but it's really fascinating to me.
That stuff fascinates me too.
Yeah.
I would love to just independently. Well, that's the problem. I feel like I would love to just. I would kind of love to stay in school forever.
Me? Oh, fuck. I've always thought that. Yeah, I want to stay in college forever if I could. You can audit classes. I think you can do it for free sometimes. I don't know.
Amazing.
Maybe not. Maybe some places.
I'd love to learn more about anything that interests me, really, and so much interests me, but
I want to learn for the rest of my fucking life.
Specifically, I want to avoid misinformation, and I
yeah.
want to hear it from a live person if I can, because that's more engaging to me.
That's true. Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, fortunately, we do have the internet, which can be a good resource, and sometimes also a bad resource. And unfortunately, like, you're not going to be able to avoid getting some misinformation. But a positive way to look at it is even if you get misinformation and then later you find out that the information was wrong, then that's also a learning experience.
Yeah.
So that's another way to, like, develop your insight. You know, I think any information is better than no information, even if it's wrong.
I'm thinking about my memories now. I don't know why. I'm just wondering. I've always sort of wondered if I have a good memory or a bad memory.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know either.
Because you've seen me, like, recall. I'm really good with, like, strings of numbers.
Which I'm fucking suck at.
But then I will just, like, forget important deadlines and stuff.
Yeah.
Or
I do that too, but maybe for a different reason, probably.
Or, like, yeah, I don't know if I have a good or a bad memory, or if I, like, misuse my memory, like I don't take advantage of it.
You know what else is another interesting thing I learned from my diagnosis?
Sorry, I keep going off on tangents like this. I'm just really
No, that's okay. That's what the whole thing's about.
thinking hard or hardly thinking.
I've never heard that before.
Thanks, my brain made it.
It's the theme of the episode.
Damn, maybe that should be the title.
No, what was the other one? I liked it better.
The political Clumpus.
Yeah, I like that better.
I feel like that's with a K. How do you feel?
I was mentioning it with a C.
All right, we'll do it.
I don't know.
I like clump because clump's already a word.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
One of the things they said they learned from my test is that I have a very slow processing speed for thinking, and that's
Really?
why, yes. I don't know, maybe it doesn't seem that way, but that's why I'm really slow at reading. Which is something I've always had. It's like I have to stare at it for like a while and like reread over and over, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that fucking means. So I don't read very many books anymore, or at least I don't finish them. Sometimes I start books and read here and there, but I'm not the kind of person who, like, I take a book and I can finish it in one day and then move on to the next one. It's like starting a book is like a monumental task for me because it's like, okay, I got to prepare that I'm gonna, like, get sidetracked and think of other things. And the other thing is, like, even reading analog clocks, it's like I understand how they work, but I have to look at that for like 5 to 10 seconds, and I have to remind myself in my head, oh yeah, that one means that and goes around, and that means this, before I can see. And some people can just look at that and, like, read it like a digital clock, where it's like, oh yeah, that means that. And for me, it's just because I can't process it that fast. And I think that's an accurate diagnosis, considering, like, all the things I remember from growing up, and not understanding things and having to be like, wait, what the fuck?
Huh.
And that's why sometimes I ask people to repeat things or repeat information or instructions, because it's like it comes into my brain and it just kind of, like, bounces around. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's not really clear to me. And they learned that because they did some other... Oh, yeah. They did another weird test where they were like... This is where they did the processing speed, and probably some other ones, but the main one was they showed me cards with different shapes and different colored shapes on them, and she would, like, put one down and put another one down and put another one down, and then she would say, okay, now you choose the next one or whatever, and she would expect me to be able to pick up a pattern. And I couldn't figure out the pattern. Oh, and there was also like a positive negative reinforcement thing where like if I got it right, she would immediately say yes or no, depending on whether I got the thing right. And every once in a while, I'd get like yes, 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 and it'd be like, oh, okay, I think I get it. I think I understand the pattern now. And then she'd be like no, and then no, and then like by the time the entire thing was over, I was like, I never figured out the pattern. I have no idea what the pattern was.
Wow.
And it was just something that my brain had an enormous time understanding.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the clock, I was thinking that I read analog clocks purely by shape.
Oh, yeah?
The position, like the shape that the hands make, the angle.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't even hardly look at the numbers.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have to look at the numbers.
I'm super shape oriented.
Yeah.
Like reading. The other day you sent me something on Instagram and I like turned on my phone and I looked at it and I was like, oh, Mike liked a message that I sent. But I didn't read that. I just knew the length of did James text you too?
Yeah, about the cat thing.
Oh, that's right. That's tomorrow.
Oh, fuck. I don't have a present.
It's okay. It can be a shoelace.
Oh.
Something a cat would enjoy.
I don't have those either.
Oh, fuck it.
Dog
and bucket.
I can find a cat toy.
But I got a notification that you had liked a message I sent on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I looked at my phone and I was like, yep. And Kaya was like, how did you
I can't
access that information so fast? I was like, I don't know. I knew what the shape of the notification was. And I knew like I know how long the message is when it says sent you a post, liked a post you sent, or liked a message you sent.
Yeah.
And it's not a conscious thing. I was just like, I recognized the shape and the position of it, and like vaguely the colors and stuff. I didn't read it. I just like looked at it, and it was like information.
That's weird. I can't do that.
And I think that's one area where my brain might be like an overachiever in that area.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, like synthesis or analysis, I suck at.
That's interesting.
It's so hard. I have to make so much effort to do that.
Yeah.
Which is probably, I don't know. Memorizing things is not so hard. I don't have like a crazy memory. I have a fine memory.
I think it's
a
like
decent memory.
There's also different types of memory. Oh,
analysis
she even said
sucks.
there was something like this is like I can't even remember what it was called, but it was like there's I think it was called active memory. That might be wrong. There was like she was talking about two different types of memory that everyone has, and it's kind of like the difference between RAM and ROM in terms of computers, where there's like random access memory and whatever ROM stands for. And I think one of them in me was like really good and one of them was really bad, because I'm good at remembering like events that happened in my life, and I'm good at remembering like stories, and I'm good at remembering just like weird shit, but I'm really bad at remembering short-term things. I'm good at remembering things that happened like a long time ago and reciting them, but I'm really bad at dates and numbers. And like, if you tell me a string of like more than 5 numbers, I guarantee I can't say it back to you without remembering it over and over in my head. And then even if I memorize it, then like a couple days later I'll probably forget it or something. So it's like stuff like that's hard, but like it's like it's different parts of your brain that are working.
I feel like I've said a lot of shit that was like my brain does this. I really don't want to brag.
No,
I don't even. I'm trying not to. I don't think it is bragging.
Well, I don't know.
Because I don't think it's like an inherent good or bad. I was just trying to think about what my brain does, how it does it, like what it does quickly, what it has trouble with.
Yeah.
So I apologize if I was like, I'm really smart.
I didn't hear it, but
okay. I sort of felt like I maybe was, but I don't feel that way. And I don't think.
This is your shame coming out again.
Yeah. Well, episode 2 was called the Shame
Yeah,
Cast.
I don't remember why.
Prophetically.
Yeah.
That was before I got my shame diagnosis. I've been diagnosed with shame. It's true.
That's kind of cool.
Well, we're at 5 o'clock. Do you want to call it?
Have you ever had any weird dreams lately?
Just sex dreams, like always.
I'm trying to think of the last weird dream I had. It wasn't that funny, but it was kind of interesting. I just had a dream that someone bought me a vintage telescope from the 60s, and it was supposedly like mint in package, and it had like 1960s style, like old-timey packaging and images on it. And but it was also open, and I was disappointed in that that it wasn't actually mint and packaged.
Oh yeah, and I said that was the opposite of my banana dream,
Yeah.
where I was like, why am I buying more bananas? I already
Yeah.
have bananas, and that was really distressing to me.
Oh, and the other thing about that dream is that I was like, the other thing is like someone gave it to me and I was trying to pretend I was really happy, but in my brain I was like, I already have a telescope or something like that.
Oh, that's really
And then
funny.
I also had a really stressful dream about my uncle, and I don't remember what was in it
The
other than
uncle
that my
dream.
uncle was in it and I was stressed in the dream.
If you're stressed in the dream, you stress in
Stressing-
real life.
It's actually fucking true.
Yeah.
I actually heard that like having nightmares like will make you more tired the next day or something.
There's
like-
like physiological effects, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Oh, I did have another dream. I had a dream that I was caught up in a love triangle.
Wow.
Between two very similar looking people who don't exist.
I once had simultaneous crushes on people with rhyming names.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm not gonna say what it was rhyming with. It would be incriminating.
Really? That much?
It's pretty specific.
Oh, okay. But it was weird. I remember like I kissed one of them and then the other one found out and they were really mad. And it was like this whole thing. It was like this whole fucking elaborate story that I don't remember, but it was really intense and weird. But yeah, I haven't had any like really funny dreams lately, unfortunately.
I will try to remember or like be conscious of mine more because I have dreams often, but
Yeah. I
they're
think I've
usually
heard everyone has dreams every night. It's just that you don't always remember them.
yeah. And then Kaya said to me, "You remember the last dream that you had," and I think that's probably true. But I've also had nights where I distinctly remember like 4 dreams.
Yeah,
I once had
too.
6 dreams in one night, and I remembered every one, and I woke up between every one.
I've done that too. I love that.
I couldn't tell you what they were now,
Have
but
you ever had dreams that continue, where it's like one ends and then you go to sleep another night and it kind of takes off where the other one ended?
I've never had a dream like that.
I've
but
had a couple
I've
like
had
that.
like dreams that continued even among a member of the same night. Like
Okay, happens to you.
I woke up and then I went back
Yeah.
to sleep and it kept going.
Stay woke.
And those are rare, and usually I like want if I have an interesting dream. My brain will put together like stories. They don't make any sense, but it feels like a narrative.
My best dream. Well, yeah, that's what dreams are, kind of. My best dreams are when I wake up in the middle of the night and then I fall asleep again. For some reason, that's the prime time for having dreams. I don't know why. The other thing I was gonna say,
I've already made the Dreamcast joke, I'm sure.
we did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe I don't know. Well, either way, here it is again. I did have something to say. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Like your dreams, we'll continue it next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to end it, I think.
All right.
This has gone on long enough.
Bye-bye.
Bye.